Okay, here we go. Early morning Sunday video. So, got a few parts in, nothing major. I got the linkage for the transmission, for the Turbo 400, the little pin kit for it, and let's see what else. I actually got this stuff last week, I just forgot to show it. But the chrome cover for the radiator. Also, a reproduction gas pedal, full kit. And a ton of harnesses, all OEM harnesses, which slowly and surely will start going in probably between this week and next week. So last week what I did was I worked mainly on putting the dash back together again, and I put the printed circuit onto the gauge cluster, and that was a nightmare. I mean, those things are so thin, you're so worried about damaging it as you're putting it together, especially when you're putting the lights in. On the OEM one, you know, you push the light in, you turn it, no big deal. On this, you got to be very gentle, otherwise you'll do damage like I did a few weeks ago. But another thing too is the standard lighting that comes with it, just a regular, you know, standard 194 bulb. Just a regular 194 bulb, just it doesn't cut it. You know, once I turned it on, it brought back the memories of when I first got this car, or back in the 70s. Just the poorly lit dash. You don't realize it until you see today's dashes and compare it to yesterday's dashes. And this thing was like so dull. So what I did was I found 194 LED lights. Let me see if I have an example here. I might have used all of them. I do have some extras, but they're in my office. I don't have any here, I don't think. Just give me a moment just to do a quick search. But I had a few here that I was going to show you. But anyway, so I went to LED lights, and it made all the difference in the world. I mean, I'll take the camera off in a minute and I'll show you. I temporarily hooked up the battery just to give us some power, some basic power. I'm still waiting for the horn relay, so I kind of had to jimmy rig this here to bring the power into the fuse box. Also, I started kind of cleaning up the wires that I have hidden in the windshield transmission arm compartment here. And I just got to get all that coated. I have all the wire loom. I don't think the 3/8 wire loom came in yet. I think this is just a 1/4 inch. Let's see here. Yeah, this is only the 1/4 inch. Yeah, that's a 1/4. The 3/8 has not arrived yet. I'm going to need some 3/8 to clean up some of the heavier wires and get everything so it's all blacked out. Once the covers go on, you won't really see it. And I've been going back and forth on using the stock covers, or to make a really nice plate that I can get in kind of a chassis black. I think it comes in powder coat, and we can put that there too. But I just don't like that look. But it would work perfectly for what I'm doing here, because then you definitely wouldn't see anything. It's got the openings in it so the air will enter and all that kind of stuff. But you know, to keep the components cool. But in reality, I just don't like the way it looks. But you know, the idea is not off the table yet. It's still there, but I'm just not sure what I'm going to do with that just yet. So basically, last week's concentration was really on the air conditioning, ducting, get everything neat under the dash, getting the dash back in the car, and you know, just kind of getting this tedious stuff out of the way. And it's just a pain. I don't mind doing it. I don't necessarily hate doing it, but it's just those things that it eats up a lot of time, because you got to be very careful. You know, you got to remember the dash is plastic. Even the OEM dash were plastic, and they were also fragile, and you have to be careful then, and you got to be careful now. The dash itself, the integrity of the dash, the way it's put together, The durability, I'm going to say, is equal to, maybe a little bit better than yesterday's plastics. But But basically, it came together well. It fit perfectly. I didn't have to play around with anything. It just bolted right in. Again, surprisingly, almost 99.9. Excuse my voice today. It's early morning. 99.9% of what I purchased bolted in. Even the aftermarket suspension, it bolted in. Very surprising. You know, many years ago, well, not even many years ago, 10 years ago, you would purchase something that would have to be modified to definitely fit. So, let's pop that camera off, and let's just take a look at the dash, look at the lighting, and see what you think. Okay, here we go again. Okay, I'm not a cameraman, remember that. Weekly disclaimer. Alright, let's look at the dash. Alright, so dash is back in, and like I said, it fit really good. No problems, bolted right in, everything lined up. I didn't have to tweak anything. It actually went right in, surprisingly. Once I put the dash back in, I still had the 194 bulbs in there. And I applied power, and that's when I realized, hey, this is way too dim. Did a little research, found some 194 bulbs, LED bulbs, that were the same size, same everything as the standard 194. And I changed them out while the dash was already in. Pain in the butt. I had to be very gentle. I had to it was a feeling game. Get your hand back there, feel it clip in, and that's the only part of the cluster I didn't like, was the way the bulb holders go in. You got to really be perfect, and then you'll feel them clip in, and then you could turn them. And you got to turn them to like a midway point for them to make proper contact. So that part is not as good as the OEM, but you know, it works. So here's the lights, and I would say that is fairly bright, not super bright. It might look brighter in the camera than it really is, but I shut all the lights off in the shop to look at it, and it's pretty comparable to today's dashes. And again, you can sit here and dim it. I don't know if you can see the dimming on the camera. Probably not. But there's a point of where it comes off, comes back on, and that's where it's fully lit. So the other things I did was, after I was done with this nightmare, I moved on to the ductwork. Let's get some lighting. And the ductwork is pretty much all set. I have just this one duct right there that I may leave as a floor duct, or I may cap it off. I won't know till I actually fire the system up, see how everything works. And a little sneak peek, there's one of the ducts. You know, you look into the radio hole, there's another one, little hard to see, but it's there. The wire, still spaghetti. Would have neatened all that up there's going to be a very final point. So this way I know everything is run where it's got to run. I don't got to run anything else, and I'm not tie wrapping, covering everything, just to uncover it, untie wrap it, to add a wire because I forgot one. So basically, you know, the dash is in. The dash pad does fit really good. It still has the little gaps like you would have seen in the OEM one. So as in a perfect fit, it never was perfect from the factory, so how could you expect it to be perfect now? Unless you sit here for 80,000 hours, you know, to make it, to cut this, twist that, bend that, or have a custom one made, whatever. It fits, to me, it fits perfectly. Just as good as the stock one. So, and you gotta buy a good quality one. You can't buy a cheapie. They do make cheaper ones that do fit like crap, but the one that I purchased, I believe, came from Legendary, and pops right in. Everything goes where it's got to go. All the screw holes line right up, but I'm not ready to put it on yet. I just fit it temporarily. I mocked it up to look at it, and that was it. Still got to make a radio choice. I do have the kick panels with the 180 watt Kenwood speakers. I showed you those last week. I'm also going to do that with the panels in the back, the side panels. I guess you would still call them kick panels. And I'll purchase those with the speakers already cut in them. So this way it's one less thing I got to do. And also on the back tray, we'll put some speakers back there. So we'll be speakered up. Originally, when I bought the car, they were in the door, so the door panels, it was professionally done. I mean, they were cut perfectly. It's not a hack job, but it's just I didn't want them in the doors because you're always opening, closing doors and shaking things around. It makes no sense. So kick panel is the best choice. And also the kick panels that I purchased, this was originally a non-air car. I did purchase the air style, so this way it fills the entire gap there. There's no astro ventilation, there's no cables, none of that. It's just a plain Jane panel with a speaker in it. Fits perfectly. I already test fit them, and you know, I'm happy. And there's the little culprit switch. There it is. That fell apart on me, and you know what? I didn't even bother to plug it in case I got to take it apart. It doesn't work anyway. It's just there to fill a gap. And the one thing that I did want to add back into this car that I have, that originally it came with, is the rear defogger, and that would require to measure and cut a hole here somewhere. So I'm debating that. Do I really need it? It's not a concourse restoration, so I think we may forget about that and just move on, because I still have all the original parts. I have the original switch, the original bezel, and I can purchase those aftermarket too, so it's clean and new. But do we really need it? No. And oh, the other thing is, the reason we had that extra duct down there is because I went to the OEM vents here. As you can see, it's the OEM one. A little hard to see in here. The lighting isn't the best, but that's the OEM setup. And basically, I just didn't like the one that came with the air conditioning system that I purchased. It fit very well, but you had to glue the vents in, and it was just like, you know, basically it was just half-ass. I didn't want it. So I purchased an OEM one. Again, it fit perfectly. I modified it to fit the system. I showed you those modifications a couple weeks ago. Simple, simple, simple. Got it in. Perfect. The vents are in, the defrost vents. Those popped right in. They screwed right back to the OEM hole. I had to modify those too, and I showed you those a few weeks ago. So basically, I'm going to say that dash is in permanently, and I can start putting the little, you know, the ashtray in, the glove box, and just try to finish that up. I still have quite a bit of wiring to just neaten up and finish running to where it's got to go. I got to set up all the key-on power strips, so this way we're not hacking wires together. We're doing it professionally, and also that'll all be hidden away and covered and weatherproofed, even though the car will never be in any type of weather. I mean, it may not even be in good weather, because who's got time to drive it, but I'll try to make time. So we're going to be doing a lot of odds and ends just to start getting this interior together, and I'm going to get back on the engine probably in a week or so. And what we need to do there is I just want to check that rotor phasing again before I put the radiator in. I pretty much have figured out all my wires, and I'm not going to cut anything. I'm going to find a creative way of hiding what I'm not using. Back in there, everything is pretty much black now. So yes, there's quite a few wires. You can see there and there. You can see that I put the clamps there with that little bit of stainless steel, and that's okay. You know, I want a little bit of mechanical look to this. I don't want it to be like super clean, but I do hate wires, so those have to be somewhat hidden. But everything else, I don't mind the mechanical look. And I think those clamps were a plus. If they were all black, I don't know. I don't think I'd like them. So I think we're going to stay with those. And it was just a simple pilot drill and a couple of stainless steel self-tappers. And they went right in, because they go into, it's blind in the back, so you can't get a nut and bolt in there, and there was no sense. It's only a clamp, so. And again, it's all stainless steel, and it'll be fine. And that little cluster there, I'm waiting for the horn relay, because the horn relay is where your wires come together, and basically, number one, feed the horn when you hit the button, but also it feeds the fuse box. And you know, it's kind of a strange setup. It just seems like the feed to the fuse box seems to be small. But then again, what are you really pulling out of the fuse box? Very minor stuff, just lighting really. And the gauges and all that are basically running off of you know, minimal 12-volt power and your sending unit. So it does draw a minimal amount, but just when you first see it, you're like, wow, that's awful small, but it is what it is. And as you see, I just started just kind of taping together my wires, getting it ready for the covering, which will make it, you know, when you tape them together, it just makes it easy to put the covering on there. Stays more controlled. And as the covering and everything comes, you know, I'll just kind of tuck those over underneath to where you don't necessarily see them. But again, it's all black. Once the cover goes on, I don't think we're going to see it. And then again, like I said, it's not a concourse restoration. I just had a lot of wires. I had a lot of computer parts, the MSD box, and battery power that I didn't want to have all those wires running back to the battery. And, you know, number one, it's not really safe. Number two, it just looks awful. So basically, I just have a branch, a negative and a positive, heavy gauge wire coming into that side there, feeding the two strips, the negative and positive strips, and everything is undercover, and we'll be all set. Even the fan relays and all that, the relays are actually right here. I don't want to pull them, but they're right there. This is all fan stuff. So everything, again, will be undercover, minimal wires towards there. The only wire that's going to be out at the radiator is going to be the wires leading to the fan, and there will be a ground on the left and the right of the radiator for the fans. Actually, I could probably ground them both in a hidden spot here on the left side of the car, behind the power steering pump reservoir. Excuse my voice today, it's a little raspy. Just had a long day at work yesterday, and I'm still super tired from it. So I didn't get in here. Last week I put in a good amount of time on Sunday. Or I'm sorry, it was Monday that I put the time in. And, you know, I did as much as I could. And I stayed in here a little bit late, but I had an early morning on Tuesday to get back to work, so I couldn't stay here too late. So today I'm going to do the best I can, but I'm going to concentrate on the interior. The exterior, I still need to run my fuel lines, and I think I told you this before. I don't know which one is feed, and I don't know which one is return until I trace them out. And tracing them out is not going to be the easiest thing in the world, so I'm going to purchase 5 gallons of VP, fill the tank, get a bucket, put both of those hoses in a bucket, and see which one pumps, and that's my feed. That's how we're going to figure that out. And I did tag them when I installed them, and I'm not sure what happened to the tags while I was snaking them, because you got to remember, I'm here alone, so I'm pushing and pulling and doing all this stuff alone. The tags came off, and once they came off, I mean, they were taped on, but they got all scratched up, and you couldn't even read them anymore, so I literally took the tape off. And but easy enough to figure out, you know, just a minor setback. I got to get all the fuel plumbing done, and the only thing I haven't addressed yet, because I'm trying to figure out what I want to do, is the throttle position sensor. It goes right there on that block, and right now it's just a sensor with 3 raw wires without a plug. We do have a plug on this end, so I believe it's a weather pack plug, so I just need to do a little research, figure out which plug it is. I may have it at the shop, because we make all our own wiring harnesses for the trucks and everything, and repair a lot of harnesses, and we do it professionally with the correct crimpers, correct terminals, correct wires, wire colors, things like that. We don't just add a wire, just, you know, of any color just to make it work. Not the way to do things. So I do stock Deutsch connectors, I do stock weather packs, so hopefully I should have what I need. It looks like a very generic 80s style weather pack, and you know, weather packs are still used today, but the Deutsch seems to be a little more popular in most of it. And you know, we'll get through that. It's just one of those, again, little tedious things that I just saved that for a later date. But we're gonna get back into the interior. I still need to deal with the window stops for the rear windows. We have to modify that door to accept the boot for the wiring, this boot right here, if it wants to come out, this boot here. So we still have a lot of tedious stuff to do, you know. And, you know, time is limited, so I can only do what I can do. So, you know, are we going to get out there this year? It doesn't look it, because there's a lot of other things going on in my life. You know, my yard has got to be finished. The fencing guys will be here Friday. And then I can finish up my backyard. I do got to spend some, I would say, more supervisor type time than actual labor time. I do have a crew that's going to be, you know, finishing everything up for me. Because, again, I don't have the time, and, you know, I'm dead tired come the weekend after a full week. Plus, we've been working, or I've been working almost every Saturday. And I've gone out on a couple of Sundays, you know, just for an hour or two. But I need to curb that, because I'm, you know, I'm super tired. I'm 62 years old, and, you know, well, that's catching up. So enough of that. But anyway, let's get back to this. So basically, we're just going to do some interior work. I'm going to take our time, do it slowly, because we don't want to break anything. And so far, the only casualty I've had was that the printed circuit for the cluster. And yeah, of course, it's my fault. But was it made poorly? Yes, it was made poorly. It didn't take a lot of effort to destroy it. So, you know, luckily we were able to get the replacement. It was only about $80 or $90. We got everything back together again, and we have our dash nice lit up. The only gauge that sucks a little bit is the amps gauge. And I remember even originally when I first got the car, that the lighting for the amp gauge isn't that great. It's one light. Let's see if we can see through the window. And yes, you can. That's the only light for the amp gauge. And it looks like it's enough, but the way it reflects, it only kind of reflects off to the left of the gauge. And let's see if we get a dead shot on there. Actually, on the camera, it looks really good. In real life, it's just a little tiny bit, just enough for me to notice that it's a little lighter than the rest of the gauges. But on camera, it looks pretty good. So, you know, again, who cares? Who looks at the amp gauge anyway? You know, am I even going to hook it up? We'll see. I don't think it ever worked in my original cluster to begin with. I think it was disconnected, because there were so many mods to that engine too, and you know, everything, it wasn't hacked up, but a lot of things were caught, and I kind of received the car that way. I fixed what I needed to fix, my oil pressure, my water temperature, all that stuff worked. But just like the amps gauge, I don't think it worked. Maybe it did, I don't remember. I thought it was removed. And I used to run a couple of extra gauges, you know, volt gauge, and I think I ran an oil temperature gauge at the time too, back in 70s and very early 80s. And then the car came apart, and it's going back together now after about 30 some odd years. All right, let's put this back on the stand and finish up. Okay, yeah, I didn't realize how early I started this video, but anyway, so basically the reasons I do the videos is to kind of share what I'm doing, maybe mainly to try to encourage other people that haven't gotten into cars yet or are thinking about it to get involved with the you know, with the hot rod culture. So this way we could kind of keep this alive. I know there's a lot of different cars now. People are into the Hondas, which is cool. I mean, you're into what you're into. And that's a form of hot rodding too. You know, it's not our old school hot rodding, but it is what it is. It'd be great to just kind of keep this alive and just encourage someone to pick up a wrench and just start creating something. It doesn't necessarily have to be a car. It could be a motorcycle. It could be a bicycle. It could be anything. Just get some of those creative juices going, and you know, just giving yourself a good, clean hobby. So this way, you know, instead of playing a video game and putting a car together or racing in the streets in a video game, you could do it in real life. Less the racing in the streets. That stuff is not unacceptable anymore. Too dangerous. Most communities are so overpopulated now that racing in the street is an unacceptable thing. It's not like when we were kids where basically we grew up and there was a handful of people in your town. Like here where I am in Stamford, Connecticut. We originally were a town, now we're a city. Do I agree with it? No. I liked it better when it was a town. It's getting too congested now. So playing games with cars, racing in the street, no. But as for building one, cruising the streets on a Friday night or whatever, great. And hopefully somebody sees these videos and just wants to give it a try. You don't have to spend this kind of money. You don't have to buy these tools. You don't have to do any of this. All you have to do is find a car, spend a little time on it. You will need to invest in some minimal tools if you don't already have tools. And they don't have to be Snap-on tools. Like, I do have Snap-on at the shop, in my truck, service trucks. Here in this shop I have tons of Snap-on tools. But I do this professionally, so I like quality tools. Harbor Freight tools, good enough for doing stuff like this. And, if it's all that you can afford, it is what it is. I have some Harbor Freight tools, that I picked up, just odd and end stuff that I don't need professionally, and I don't need to spend that, that money. I'll put that money into the car. But as for getting into something like this, you could get into it fairly inexpensively. You could find a running car that needs some minor work, and just slowly play with it, and just, you might find that you get so into it that you'll find a way not only to pay your bills, get through life and all that, but to have that little extra money to maybe put some money into your car. But again, you don't have to spend a dime well, you do have to spend at least a dime or a nickel to at least get your car going, make it look decent, make it sound nice. There's a lot of things you could do without spending money. I just chose to put money into this car because this car means a lot to me. We've been together since 1975, and it was taken care of before I got it. Probably not as well as I take care of it, but it was taken care of. The only thing, it didn't have the original motor in it, and I was unable to find it even back in '75. I did try to track it down. I couldn't find it. So no big deal. So I ended up with there was a 454 in there. It was an LS5, period correct, date stamps, all that stuff was correct. And I do still have that motor. I actually have 4 big blocks sitting, and I got a couple of small blocks. So basically, I just chose to go a little overboard on this project. And luckily, what I do for a living has allowed me to save money a little bit every year, to where I got to the point of where, okay, it's time to pull the trigger. I was able to put my garage up, believe it or not, on scrap metal. I just piled up scrap metal from all the repairs that we did at the shop, and I was able to build this shop, and also the motorcycle shop behind it, which eventually we'll get into those other shops I have here, and my machine shop to the left of me behind this wall. And I just found ways that it didn't affect my bill paying ability and taking care of my family. I found a way to put a little bit away just to do this. And it took a while. I didn't put this money away 1, 2, 3. It took many years to put it away. And when I got to that point of where I wanted to pull the trigger, I pulled the trigger. Luckily, the body's in very good shape. As I said, we got some scratches and stuff, and I'm going to touch those up for now. I'm not going to go crazy painting it and doing all this crazy stuff. We're going to have to paint the roof because the vinyl top is going back on. And I'll take care of the minor scratches. The one side over there, I'm going to probably have to do I'm going to probably have to blend the paint. That I'm going to have to shoot. But other than that, the body's in such good shape that I didn't have to spend any money on the body. All the things that I changed, I actually still have the OEM parts that could have easily gone back in. But I wanted that new clean interior. I hemmed and hawed about it because of, all the nightmare stories I see online. Oh, this didn't fit, that didn't fit. Luckily, I did not experience that. The only bad experience I had was the printed circuit. But the second one went in. I was very careful with it, and now that it's in the dash and it's set, I don't have to touch it again. It's kind of like a woof, done. Don't have to worry about that no more. So we still got lots of odds and ends. I'm going to concentrate some more on the interior today. The AC ducts are pretty much all done, except for the one open one, which we don't know what we're doing with that yet. And We need to work on that door, but I do have to clear some room on that side. The door does swing all the way, but I don't like working in a crowded area because that's how accidents happen. You scratch things, break things, or you get hurt. So we're going to need to clear that area there. And I do have to reassess all these boxes. I have a lot of the OEM stuff in that corner, including my suspension, sway bars. All that stuff is good, so, you know, I'm not just going to be like scrap it like everybody says, oh, just scrap it. No, we're not doing that. So everything's going to get tagged, bagged, boxed, and put away. And what I've been working on also with my backyard project, I'm shrinking my backyard a little bit with the fence that's going up, and I'm creating a path along behind the wall I'm pointing at. I'm going to take my walkway out that we put in, and I'm just going to create a path to my back buildings, which includes my motorcycle shop, which I can get through this door here, or I can walk down the path and just walk up the little stairs to the deck to where that shop is. Behind that I have a steel shed that just really holds all my extra parts, all the parts for the coffin car, parts for the 34 Ford Coupe. So all my parts are here for all this stuff. And as I said, through the years, I've been building the parts arsenal up. So this way it's not like I'm spending all the money today and I'm broke. No, I took time. I knew that there was no way I could do these projects and start to finish and have all the money for it. That wasn't going to happen. I have other responsibilities, other properties, taxes. So, you know, that's all important stuff. And putting money into a car is really, truly not important. And if I had to stop, I would stop. Luckily, I don't have to. And behind that, I also have a small wood shed that has all my carpentry tools and all my stuff I use around the house. And I have a ton of carpentry tools, all decent stuff, nothing really inexpensive. And it's all in controlled environments, so nothing rusts, nothing goes bad. So that pathway I'm talking about is going to be like a small driveway, a gravel driveway. I'm not going to blacktop it. A gravel driveway that goes to the back. It will access everything easier. I have a small mini excavator that I've used to do all the work around my house, and you know, obviously I got to park that, so I can't crawl across brand new grass every time I want to take it out to do something. So that path is going to come in handy for a lot of things, keep things neat, and again, just the appearance will be better. And what I may also do is put another shed. I call it the Smurf Village. I might put another shed at the end of that path where I can store some of this overflow that I have here. A lot of this is going to go in the car, but I do have overflow. I have an original hood there. I have the a reproduction cowl induction hood here that I'm not going to use, obviously, because it's not going to fit. I don't know well, when I bought the hood, which was a while ago, this idea wasn't really solidified yet. I was going back and forth to what I was going to do. Once I settled on this, I already had paid for the hood, couldn't cancel it, so here it is. It's just another obstacle in the way. So all this stuff has to find a home, so I may be doing another, I'm going to add another shed to my Smurf Village, and it's going to have to be a fair, you know, a decent size, but also my sheds don't look like crap, they look like part of my property. They're all nice, neat, and done neatly. They look good. So that's the projects that I'll be working on. So I can't spend every minute I have in here. I do have to get onto those projects, mostly in a supervisor capacity. I'm going to do some of the physical work, not all of it, but because if I was going to do all of it, I'd be here another 30 years. Actually, the projects will never end. I would end before the projects. So everything is coming together. And hopefully the time I spend on this car, by fall time, hopefully I'll be fired up, and then I can start finding any quirks, take care of those, and hopefully by next spring I could actually go out with it. If we have a mild winter, I'll take it out. As long as there's not snowing, raining, or any crap in the road, I'll take the car around the block. So that's about it. So enjoy the rest of your Sunday and the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you next week.